Leona stood at the edge of the training field, watching the other cadets practice. Her hands shook as she held the plasma rifle. The weapon felt heavy in her small arms. Around her, alien cadets moved like warriors born for battle. "Move faster, human," Commander Kale Vorthok shouted. His voice was deep and scary. The tall draconian had red scales and yellow eyes that seemed to burn with fire. "This is combat training, not a tea party." Yuna tried to run to the next target. Her legs felt weak. The other cadets were already finished with the course. She was always last, always struggling, always failing. Thrix Morvac laughed loudly. The Titan cadet was 8 feet tall, with thick gray skin like stone. His muscles were bigger than Yuna's entire body. "Look at the little human girl," he said to his friends. "She runs like a baby learning to walk." "Her bones are made of paper," said Zyla Cranks. The crystalline alien's body sparkled like diamonds. Her voice sounded like breaking glass. "Why do they even let humans into the academy? They are so weak." Yuna felt her face turn red. She wanted to say something back, but her voice caught in her throat. She had heard these words every day for 3 months. Ever since she arrived at the Galactic Defense Academy on Nexus Prime. "Focus on your training." Commander Vorthok yelled again. "The galaxy does not care about your feelings, Cadet Lee." Yuna raised her rifle and fired at the target. The plasma bolt went wide and hit the ground. She missed again. The other cadets laughed louder. "Pathetic," Thrix said. "My little sister shoots better than that, and she is only 50 years old." Park Minho walked over to Yuna. He was the only other human at the academy. "Ignore them," he whispered. "They do not understand humans yet." "Maybe they are right," Yuna said quietly. "Maybe I do not belong here." Minho shook his head. "You are smarter than all of them. I have seen you study. You know things they do not." Commander Vorthok clapped his hands loudly. "Attention, cadets. Today we have a special exercise. You will work in teams of 5. Each team will explore the asteroid field near the academy. Your job is to find and collect rare crystals, but be careful. The asteroids are not empty." The cadets formed teams quickly. Yuna and Minho waited, but no one picked them. The alien cadets did not want weak humans on their teams. "Cadet Lee," Commander Vorthok said. "You will join Team Alpha with Cadet Thrix." Thrix made a face like he smelled something bad. "Commander, can I have a different partner? The human will slow us down." "No," Vorthok said. His yellow eyes were cold. "You will learn to work with all species. That is what the academy teaches." Yuna felt her stomach drop. Working with Thrix would be terrible. He hated humans. He always found ways to make her look stupid. The teams put on their spacesuits and climbed into small ships. Yuna sat in the back of her team's ship. Thrix was the team leader. The other members were Zyla and 2 more alien cadets. "Listen, human," Thrix said as they flew toward the asteroid field. "Stay out of our way. We'll do the real work. You can carry our equipment." Yuna nodded, but said nothing. She looked out the window at the floating rocks in space. The asteroids were big and dark. Some were as small as cars. Others were as big as buildings. There, Zyla pointed to a large asteroid. "I can sense crystals inside that one. My psychic powers are never wrong." They landed on the asteroid. The surface was rough and covered in dust. Yuna followed behind the others, carrying their extra tools. Her spacesuit felt heavy and clumsy. They walked into a cave in the asteroid. The walls sparkled with crystals. Beautiful blue and green stones grew everywhere. "Perfect," Thrix said. "We will be the first team back. The commander will be impressed." Suddenly, the ground shook. Rocks fell from the ceiling. Strange sounds came from deeper in the cave. What was that? one of the alien cadets asked. Probably nothing, Thrix said, but his voice sounded worried. Keep collecting crystals. The sounds got louder. Something was moving in the darkness. Something big. We should leave, Una said quietly. Quiet human, Zyla snapped. You are scared of everything. Then they saw it. A creature crawled out of the shadows. It looked like a giant spider, but it had too many legs. Its eyes glowed red in the dark. It was as big as their ship. Run, Thrix shouted. The aliens ran fast. Their strong legs carried them quickly to the cave entrance. Una tried to follow, but she was too slow. The heavy tools in her arms made her trip. She fell hard on the rocky ground. Pain shot through her knee. When she looked up, the other cadets were gone. She could hear their ship starting up outside. Wait, she called. But they did not wait. The sound of the ship grew quieter as it flew away. Una was alone on the asteroid with the creature. Her radio was broken from the fall. She could not call for help. The creature moved closer, making clicking sounds with its mouth. She backed against the cave wall. Her heart beat fast. She was going to die here. The other cadets would tell everyone that the weak human girl could not keep up. But then Una noticed something strange. The creature stopped moving toward her. It tilted its head like it was listening. Other creatures came out of the shadows. They were smaller, like babies. The big creature was not hunting her. It was protecting its children. Una sat very still. She watched the creatures move around the cave. They were not monsters. They were a family. The crystals were not just pretty rocks. They were the creature's home. The mama creature looked at Una. Its red eyes were not angry. They were worried. It was afraid that Una would hurt its babies. I will not hurt you, Una whispered, even though she knew it could not understand her words. She moved very slowly. She put down all the tools and crystals she was carrying. Then she backed away from the creature's nest. The mama creature watched her carefully. When Una reached the cave entrance, it made a soft sound, almost like it was saying, "Thank you." Una smiled. For the first time in months, she felt proud of herself. She had done something the other cadets could not do. She had made peace instead of war. Now she just had to figure out how to get home from this asteroid. But somehow, she felt like everything would be okay. The creatures had taught her something important. Sometimes being small and quiet was better than being big and loud. Sometimes understanding was stronger than fighting. Maybe being human was not so bad after all. Una sat in the asteroid cave for 3 hours. She was cold and scared, but she watched the creatures. The mama creature moved around the cave, checking on her babies. The little ones played with the crystals like toys. Finally, a rescue ship found her. Commander Vorthok was angry when he saw her. "Where's your team, Cadet Lee?" he asked through the radio. "They left me here, sir," Una said quietly. Vorthok's face turned darker. "And why did they leave you?" "Because I was too slow, sir." When they got back to the academy, Thrix and his team were waiting. They looked worried. "We thought she was right behind us," Thrix lied. "When we saw she was missing, we came back to look for her." Una said nothing. She knew no one would believe her word against theirs, but someone was watching. High above the academy, on a big warship, Admiral Sek Gorvain looked at the reports. He was the most powerful commander in the galaxy. His ship was so big it blocked out the sun. "Interesting," he said to his helper. The human girl made contact with the cave dwellers. "No one has ever done that before, sir," the helper asked. "Those creatures have lived on that asteroid for 1,000 years. Every time someone goes near their home, they attack. But not this time." Admiral Gorvain touched his computer screen. Una's face appeared. She looked small and scared in her academy photo. "Keep watching this one," he said. Back at the academy, Yuna tried to forget about the asteroid, but she could not stop thinking about the creatures. She went to the library every night. She read about different alien species. She wanted to understand them better. Dr. Hanji Ho found her there one evening. He was a human teacher at the academy. He was old and kind, with gray hair and gentle eyes. "You are studying late again, Yuna," he said. "I like learning about aliens," she said. "They are not what I expected." Dr. Han sat down next to her. "What did you expect?" "I thought they would all be mean. But the creatures on the asteroid, they were just protecting their family." Dr. Han smiled. "That is very wise thinking. Most people see only what they want to see. You see what is really there. But I am still weak," Yuna said. "I cannot fight like the other cadets." "Fighting is not the only kind of strength," Dr. Han said. "Sometimes the best weapon is understanding." A week later, bad news came to the academy. A ship full of diplomats had gone missing near the Valkyrie Nebula. It was a dangerous place in space, full of gas clouds and strange lights. "We sent 3 rescue teams," Commander Vorthok told the cadets. "All of them were our best fighters. Strong aliens from different worlds, but none of them came back." The cadets looked worried. If the strongest aliens could not return from the nebula, what hope did anyone have? "We are sending 1 more team," Vorthok said. "Only the top cadets will be chosen." Yuna knew she would not be picked. She was never chosen for important missions. But that night, she could not sleep. She kept thinking about the missing people. She snuck into the computer room. Park Min-ho helped her. He was good with machines. "This is dangerous," Min-ho whispered. "If they catch us, ... "I just want to look at the reports," Yuna said. "Maybe I can help." They found the files about the missing ships. "Yuna, read everything carefully." The first rescue team had strong fighters from the Titan world. The second team had smart aliens who could read minds. The third team had creatures that could turn invisible. They sent different types of aliens each time, Yuna said. So Min-ho asked, but they all failed the same way. "Look at this," Yuna showed him the radio messages. Each team had sent the same type of message before they disappeared. They all said they found something interesting. Then their radios went quiet. "Maybe they were attacked," Min-ho said. No, Yuna shook her head. "Look at the time between messages. If something attacked them, the messages would stop quickly." But there was always exactly 10 minutes between the last message and when the radio died. Min-ho looked confused. "What does that mean?" "It means something was studying them first, learning about them, then it took them." Yuna felt excited. She was seeing a pattern that no one else had noticed. The next morning, she tried to tell Commander Vorthok about her discovery, but he would not listen. "You are just a cadet," he said, "and not a very good one. Leave the thinking to your superiors." Yuna felt frustrated. She knew she was right, but no one would believe her. That afternoon, the 4th rescue team prepared to leave. It was the biggest team yet. 12 of the strongest cadets from the academy were going. Yuna watched them load their ship with weapons and supplies. She wanted to help, but she knew they would just laugh at her. "I wish I could go with them," she said to Min-ho. "You would just slow them down," Min-ho said. But he did not sound mean. He sounded sad. Then Yuna had an idea. It was crazy and dangerous. But she could not let more people disappear. "Min-ho," she said, "can you help me get on that ship?" "What?" "No. That is impossible. They would throw you in jail." "Not if they do not find me until it is too late to turn back." Min-ho stared at her. "You want to hide on the rescue ship?" "Yes. Someone needs to warn them about the pattern I found. If I am right, they are flying into a trap. And if you are wrong, then I will be in big trouble. But if I am right and I do nothing, 12 more cadets will disappear." Minho was quiet. For a long time, then he sighed. "You are the bravest person I know," he said. "And also the craziest." That night, Minho helped Yuna sneak onto the rescue ship. She hid in a supply closet with food and water. The ship was big, so she had room to hide. She felt the ship take off. Her stomach dropped as they flew into space. She was scared, but also excited. Finally, she was doing something important. Hours passed. Yuna could hear the cadets talking outside her hiding place. They were confident and strong. They thought this mission would be easy, but Yuna knew better. Something in the Valkyrie Nebula was waiting for them, something that had already caught. 3 teams of heroes. The ship flew deeper into space, toward the swirling clouds of the nebula. Yuna held her breath and waited. Soon, she would find out if her theory was right, and if it was, she might be the only one who could save them all. Yuna felt the ship shake as it entered the Valkyrie Nebula. Purple and green gas clouds swirled outside the windows. Lightning flashed between the clouds, but there was no sound in space. She pressed her ear to the closet door and listened to the cadets talking. "This place gives me the creeps," said one alien voice. "Stay focused," said another. "We have a job to do." The ship flew deeper into the nebula. Yuna could feel them slowing down. They must be getting close to where the other teams disappeared. Suddenly, all the lights went out. The ship's engines stopped humming. Everything became quiet and dark. "What happened?" someone shouted. "All systems are down," came another voice. "We have no power." Yuna felt scared. This was exactly what happened to the other rescue teams. Something had turned off their ship, just like it turned off the others. Through the walls, she could hear the cadets panicking. These were the strongest students at the academy, but they sounded frightened. Then she heard a new sound. It was like metal scraping against metal. Something big was moving outside the ship. "There is something out there," a cadet whispered. "I can see it," said another. "It is huge." Yuna wanted to look, but she was afraid to leave her hiding place. If the cadets found her now, they would be very angry. The scraping sound got louder. Whatever was outside was getting closer to their ship. Then bright lights filled the space around them. But these were not the lights from their ship. These lights came from somewhere else. Unknown vessel. A deep voice said over the radio, "This is Admiral Sek Gorvain of the Galactic Fleet. You are in danger. Prepare to be rescued." Yuna's eyes went wide. Admiral Gorvain was here. He was the most famous commander in the galaxy. Everyone knew his name, but few people had ever seen him. One of the cadets said over the radio, "Sir, we are a rescue team from the Academy. Our ship has lost power." "I know who you are," Admiral Gorvain said. "And I know why you are here. But you walked into a trap. Something very dangerous lives in this nebula." Through the walls, Yuna could see bright lights moving. The Admiral's ships were everywhere. His fleet was enormous. She had never seen so many warships in one place. "All cadets will be brought to my flagship," Admiral Gorvain said. "But first, I need to speak with someone." "Where is the human girl?" Yuna felt her heart stop. How did he know she was here? "Sir," the team leader said. "What human girl?" "There are no humans on this mission." "Check your ship," Admiral Gorvain said. His voice was cold and serious. "Check it carefully." Yuna heard footsteps outside her closet. Kana the cadets were searching the ship. She knew they would find her soon. The closet door opened. Light poured in, making her blink. A tall alien cadet stared down at her. "Found her?" he called to the others. The cadets pulled Yuna out of the closet. They were angry and confused. "You little fool," one of them said. "You could have gotten us all killed." "How did Admiral Gorvain know she was here?" another asked. Before anyone could answer, their ship shook again. But this time, it was not dangerous. Another ship was connecting to theirs. "Bring the human girl to me," Admiral Gorvain said over the radio. Now, the cadets had no choice. They put Yuna in a spacesuit and walked her through a tunnel between the ships. She felt like she was walking in a dream. Admiral Gorvain's ship was the biggest thing Yuna had ever seen. The walls were covered in screens showing maps of the galaxy. Hundreds of crew members worked at their stations, dotted there. In the center of it all stood Admiral Gorvain himself. He was not what Yuna expected. He was tall, but not huge like the Titan aliens. His skin was gray-blue, and he had 4 arms instead of 2. His eyes were completely black, like looking into deep space. But the most surprising thing was that he was looking right at her. "Cadet Yuna," he said. His voice was quiet but powerful. "You have been watching you, sir," Yuna said. Her voice was very small. "You made contact with the cave dwellers on the asteroid. No one has ever done that before. Then you found patterns. In the rescue mission reports that trained officers missed." Yuna felt confused. "How do you know about that, sir?" Admiral Gorvain smiled. It was not a mean smile. "Because I have people watching for humans like you." A man in uniform stepped forward. He looked human, with black hair and kind eyes. "Yuna," Admiral Gorvain said, "meet Captain Ru Taman. He serves on my ship." Captain Ru bowed to Yuna. "It is good to meet you," he said, in perfect human language. "You are human too?" Yuna asked. "Yes," Captain Ru said. "And I am not the only one. Humans serve in many places in the galaxy. But most people do not know this." Admiral Gorvain walked to a big window that showed the nebula outside. "Tell me, Cadet Lee, what do you think happened to the missing rescue teams?" Yuna thought carefully. "I think something caught them. Something that studies different aliens, to learn how they fight." "Very good, Admiral," Gorvain said. "You are exactly right. There is a creature in this nebula called the Collective. It captures beings from different species and takes their knowledge." "Takes their knowledge?" Yuna asked. Captain Ru nodded. "It connects to their minds and learns everything they know. How they think, how they fight, how their species makes war. With each team it captures, it becomes stronger." "The missing cadets are still alive," Admiral Gorvain said, "but they are trapped inside the collective sphere. It is slowly draining their minds." Yuna felt sick. She asked. Admiral Gorvain turned to look at her. His black eyes seemed to see everything. "Because humans have something special," he said. "Other species think in patterns. They are logical and predictable. But humans, ... humans are different." "Different? How?" "You think in ways that do not make sense to other beings," Captain Ru explained. "You can be logical and emotional at the same time. You can be scared and brave together. Your minds jump from idea to idea in ways other species cannot follow. The Collective can understand any species it has studied before," Admiral Gorvain said, "but it has never studied a human mind. Your thoughts would confuse it." Yuna felt her stomach drop. "You want me to go inside that thing?" "Yes, Admiral," Gorvain said simply. "You are the only one who can save the missing cadets." "But I am just a student. I am not even a good student. Everyone says I am weak." Admiral Gorvain knelt down so his eyes were level with hers. "Cadet Lee, physical strength is not the only kind of strength. Your mind works in ways that could break the Collective's power." "I am scared," Yuna admitted. "Good," Admiral Gorvain said. "Fear will help you stay alive. But will you do it? Will you try to save your fellow cadets?" Yuna thought about Thrix and the others who had left her on the asteroid. They had been mean to her, but they did not deserve to have their minds stolen. She thought about all the humans serving in secret across the galaxy. Captain Roo had probably been scared once too, but he had become strong. "If I go in there," Una said, "what do I do?" "Be human," Admiral Gorvain said. "Be exactly what you are. Do not try to fight the collective with weapons. Fight it with your thoughts. Confuse it. Make it question itself." Una took a deep breath. "Okay," she said. "I will try." Admiral Gorvain smiled again. This time, his smile was proud. "Captain Roo." "We'll prepare you," he said, "and Cadet Lee. The galaxy is watching." Captain Roo gave Una a special suit. It looked like a normal spacesuit, but it had tiny computers inside. "This will help us track you," he said. "But once you are inside the collective sphere, we cannot help you. You will be alone." Una nodded. Her hands were shaking, but she tried to look brave. "Remember," Admiral Gorvain said, "do not try to fight it with force. Let it connect to your mind, but when it does, think like a human. Be confusing. Be unpredictable. What if it hurts me?" Una asked. "It will not hurt you on purpose," Captain Roo said. "It wants to study you. But human minds are different. It might not understand what it finds." Admiral Gorvain walked her to a small ship. "This will take you to the collective sphere. The ship will bring you back when you are ready." Una climbed into the small ship. Through the window, she could see the collective sphere in the distance. It was huge and round, covered in metal and strange lights. It looked alive, like a giant eye watching everything. The ship flew toward the sphere. As they got closer, Una saw openings in the metal surface. The ship flew into one of them. Inside, everything was dark and wet. The walls moved like they were breathing. Strange cables hung from the ceiling like vines in a jungle. The ship landed on a platform. Una stepped out, and immediately the platform began to move. It carried her deeper into the sphere. "Welcome," a voice said inside her head. It was not a normal voice. It sounded like many voices speaking together. "You are human. We have not studied humans before." "Who are you?" Una asked out loud. "We are the collective. We are many minds working as one. We learn from all species. We grow stronger with each new mind we study." The platform stopped moving. Una was in a large room with walls covered in strange technology. In the center of the room, she saw them. The missing cadets were floating in clear tubes filled with blue liquid. Cables were connected to their heads. Their eyes were closed, but she could see they were still alive. Thrix was there, the big titan who had bullied her. Zyla, the crystalline girl, was next to him. All the strongest cadets from the academy floated like they were sleeping. "They are not dead," the collective voice said. "We are learning from them. Their knowledge becomes our knowledge." "Let them go," Una said. "We cannot. They have much to teach us, but you are different. Your mind pattern is strange. We will study you carefully." A cable dropped from the ceiling toward Una's head. She wanted to run, but she remembered what Admiral Gorvain had said. She had to let it connect to her. The cable touched her head. At first, nothing happened. Then she felt something entering her mind. It was cold and curious, like fingers searching through her thoughts. "Interesting," the collective said. "You think in patterns we do not understand. You feel fear and curiosity at the same time. How is this possible?" Una tried to think like Admiral Gorvain had told her. She thought about her favorite song and her worst nightmare at the same time. She thought about being scared of the dark, but also loving to look at stars. "Confusing," the collective said. "You contradict yourself. Your species should not be able to function with such chaotic thinking." "Maybe that is why we are good at surviving," Una said. She began to think about art. She thought about a painting she had seen that made her happy and sad together. She thought about music that was beautiful, but also made her want to cry. "We do not understand," the collective said. The voice sounded worried now. "How can something be beautiful and sad? How? Can you feel joy and pain from the same experience?" "Because that is what makes us human," Yuna said. She thought about her friends. She thought about Park Min-ho, who was kind but also scared. She thought about Dr. Han, who was wise but also lonely. She thought about how people could be many different things at once. The collective's voice became more confused. "Your species is illogical. You make decisions based on feelings, not facts. You help others even when it hurts you. Why?" "Because we care about each other," Yuna said. Then she began to think about the collective itself. "Why do you take knowledge from others? What do you do with it? We ... we collect it. We grow stronger. But why? What is the point of being strong if you are alone?" There was silence in Yuna's mind. The collective had never been asked this question before. "We are not alone. We are many minds together. But they are not really together," Yuna said. "You took their thoughts by force. They did not choose to share with you. Real togetherness is when people choose to help each other." The collective's presence in her mind felt different now, less sure of itself. "You think we are wrong?" it asked. "I think you are lonely," Yuna said. "I think you want to understand other beings, but you are doing it the wrong way. You take their thoughts instead of talking to them. We do not know how to talk. We only know how to take." "I am talking to you now," Yuna said. "I came here by choice. I wanted to help my friends, even though they were mean to me." "Why would you help beings who were cruel to you?" Yuna thought about this. "Because they were wrong about me. But that does not make them bad people. They were just scared. Sometimes people are mean when they are scared." The collective was quiet for a long time. Yuna could feel it thinking about her words. "We have never met a mind like yours," it finally said. "You forgive those who hurt you. You help those who do not help you. You feel many contradictory emotions and somehow function. We do not understand how this is possible." "Maybe you do not need to understand everything," Yuna said. "Maybe some things are better when they are mysterious." The cables around the room began to spark. The collective's voice sounded strained. "You are breaking our systems," it said. "Your thought patterns are causing errors in our processing. We cannot categorize you." "Good," Yuna said. It is. Time to stop categorizing and start asking questions instead." The blue liquid in the tubes began to drain. The missing cadets started to wake up. Shin Woojin, a human cadet Yuna had never met before, opened his eyes first. "What ... where are we?" he asked weakly. "You are being freed," Yuna said. "All of you." The collective's voice was getting weaker. "We do not know what we are without our purpose. We have always taken knowledge. If we cannot take it, what do we do?" "You learn to ask for it," Yuna said. "You learn to make friends." The tubes opened, and the cadets began to climb out. They were weak and confused, but they were alive. Even Thrix looked at Yuna with new respect. "You ... you saved us," he said. "We saved each other," Yuna replied. The platform began to move again, carrying them toward the exit. The collective sphere was changing around them. The dark, scary walls were becoming brighter. "Human girl," the collective said as they reached the exit. "You have given us something we never had before." "What is that?" Yuna asked questions about ourselves. "We will think about what you have taught us." As their rescue ship carried them away from the sphere, Yuna looked back. The collective sphere was moving away from the nebula, heading toward empty space. She had not destroyed it. She had changed it. And maybe that was better. The rescue ship flew back to Admiral Gorvain's flagship. Inside, the rescued cadets sat quietly. They were all thinking about what had happened in the collective sphere. Shin Woo-jin, The human cadet who had been captured longest could barely stand. Yuna helped him walk. His face was pale and his hands shook. "How long were we in there?" he asked. 2 weeks, Yuna said gently. "But you are safe now." Thrix looked at Yuna with confused eyes. The big Titan was still weak from his time. "In the tube, you came to save us," he said slowly. "Even after we left you on the asteroid." "Of course," Yuna said. "That is what teammates do." Zila, the crystalline girl, touched Yuna's arm. Her diamond-like hand was gentle. "I said you were weak. I was wrong." "You were not wrong," Yuna said. "I am weak in some ways. Test everyone is. Weak in some ways and strong in others." When they reached Admiral Gorvain's ship, doctors took care of the rescued cadets. Admiral Gorvain and Captain Room met Yuna in the command room. "Tell me what happened," Admiral Gorvain said. Yuna told them everything. How the collective was confused by human thoughts. How it started asking questions instead of just taking knowledge. How it chose to leave instead of fighting. "You did not destroy it," Captain Rue said. "No," Yuna said. "I think destroying it would have been wrong. It was not evil. It was just lonely and did not know better." Admiral Gorvain nodded slowly. "This is exactly why humans are special. Other species would have tried to fight the collective with weapons. You fought it with understanding." "What will happen to the collective now?" Yuna asked. "I think it will change," Admiral Gorvain said. "You gave it something new to think about. Maybe it will learn to make friends instead of taking prisoners." 3 days later, they returned to the Academy. Word of the rescue had spread to every corner of the galaxy. Everyone knew that a small human girl had saved 12 of the Academy's best cadets. Commander Vorthok waited for them when they landed. His red scales looked darker than usual. He seemed uncomfortable. "Cadet Lee," he said formally, "report to the main assembly hall. Admiral Gorvain wishes to address the Academy." The Great Hall was full of cadets from many different species. Humans, Titans, Crystallines, Draconians, and dozens of other aliens filled the seats. Everyone was talking about the rescue mission. Yuna walked into the hall with Park Minho beside her. She felt nervous. All these important beings were looking at her. Admiral Gorvain stood on the stage. His 4 arms were crossed behind his back. When he spoke, his voice filled the entire hall. "Cadets of the Galactic Defense Academy," he began. "You have heard about the rescue in the Velkari Nebula. Today, I want to tell you what really happened." The hall became completely quiet. For years, we have measured strength by how hard someone can hit. We have measured intelligence by how fast someone can calculate. We have measured worth by how well someone follows orders. Admiral Gorvain looked directly at Yuna. But we were measuring the wrong things. He pressed a button and images appeared. On the wall behind him, Kay showed the collective sphere, the rescued cadets, and Yuna talking to the collective. The creature in the nebula had defeated our strongest fighters, our smartest tacticians, and our most advanced technology. It captured them all because it could predict how they would think. The Admiral walked to the edge of the stage, but it could not predict human thinking. Human minds work differently from all other species in the galaxy. You can hold opposite ideas at the same time. You can feel fear and courage together. You can be logical and emotional in the same moment. Many of the alien cadets looked confused. This did not make sense to them. Most species see this as weakness. Admiral Gorvain continued. They think humans are chaotic and unpredictable. But that unpredictability is your greatest strength. He gestured toward Yuna. Cadet Lee Yuna did not defeat the collective with weapons. She did not overpower it with strength. She confused it with questions it had never considered. She made it think about things it had never thought about. The Admiral walked down from the stage. He moved through the crowd of cadets until he stood in front of Yuna. In many cultures across the galaxy, when we meet someone who has shown great wisdom and courage, we perform a gesture of respect. Admiral Gorvain, the most powerful commander in the known galaxy, slowly bowed his head to Yuna. His forearms spread wide in a formal salute. The entire hall gasped. No one had ever seen Admiral Gorvain bow to anyone. "Cadet Lee," he said loudly, so everyone could hear. "You have shown us that strength comes in many forms. You have proven that sometimes the smallest person can make the biggest difference." He straightened up and looked around the hall. "From this day forward, Cadet Lee will be transferred to the Xenological Contact Division. She will train in first contact procedures and diplomatic relations. The galaxy needs people who can understand others, not just fight them." The hall erupted in cheers. Even the cadets who had once bullied Yuna were clapping for her. Commander Vorthok stepped forward. His yellow eyes looked different now. They were filled with respect instead of anger. "Cadet Lee," he said, "I owe you an apology. I thought you were weak because you could not fight like the others. I was wrong. You have a different kind of strength, and it may be the most important kind of all." Thrix pushed through the crowd. The big titan knelt down so he could look Yuna in the eyes. "I am sorry," he said. "I was mean to you because I was afraid that maybe being strong was not enough. You showed me that being kind is stronger than being big." Zyla nodded agreement. "We judged you by our standards instead of understanding your gifts." Park Minho smiled at his friend. "I always knew you were special," he said. 6 months later, Yuna stood on the bridge of an exploration ship. She wore the uniform of the Xenological Contact Division. Her team included Park, Minho, Shin Woo-jin, and even some of her former bullies, who had asked to serve with her. They were heading to make first contact with a new species that had been discovered near the edge of the galaxy. The species seemed frightened and would not talk to the military ships that had tried to approach them. "Are you ready, Captain Lee?" asked her second-in-command. Why Yuna smiled. She had been promoted quickly after her success with the collective. "Ready?" she said. As their ship approached the alien world, Yuna's computer made a soft sound. She had received a message from deep space. The message was from the collective. "Human friend," it said, "we have been thinking about your words. Have stopped taking knowledge by force. Instead, we have been asking other species to teach us. Many have said yes. We are learning about friendship. Thank you for showing us a better way." Yuna smiled and typed back a reply. "I am glad you are making friends. Remember, the best knowledge comes from understanding, not taking." She closed the message and looked out at the stars. The galaxy was full of different species, all with their own gifts and their own weaknesses. Humans might not be the strongest or the smartest, but they had something special. They could see the good in others, even when others could not see it themselves, and sometimes that was the most powerful ability in the universe. Dr. Han had been right. Fighting was not the only kind of strength. Sometimes the best weapon was understanding. And sometimes the smallest person could change everything. Yuna had learned that being human was not something to be ashamed of. It was something to be proud of. The stars ahead looked bright and welcoming. There were so many species to meet, so many friends to make, and Yuna could hardly wait to meet them all.